listening to Fiber Focus, your inside track to what's next in fiber optics, telecom, and data technology. Each episode, we bring you expert insights, industry innovation, and the conversations driving connectivity forward. I am your host, Meredith Neely, joined today by James Deane, who is a
Senior Product Design Engineer.
focusing on fiber optic cables.
You bet.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this is your first time appearing. This is my first time meeting you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you do here at Sumitomo Electric Lightwave?
Yeah, absolutely. I am surprised they let one of the engineers onto this podcast. Usually I'd be behind the desk, so it's nice to get all dressed up. I've been with Sumitomo for about 10 years now, and during the pandemic, I started telling people that, everyone asks, well, what do you do? What do you do? It's like, oh, I make the internet.
Oh, you sure do.
Yeah.
That's why we like having engineers on the podcast.
Yeah, that tends to resonate with people a little bit more than, oh, I make fiber optic cables. Well, what are those? So, yeah, people can relate to the internet.
So what is going on at your desk related to fiber optic cables? What sort of work are you into these days?
I'd say most of what I do is focused on engineering work, but we like to take a very customer-centric approach. And so for me, that doesn't just mean, oh, who are we selling the cable to? But I think of my customers as the persons manufacturing the cable, the peopling, packaging, and shipping, all of whom my work directly affects. So with that said, looking at the cables themselves, we are focused on making new products that are innovative, that achieve all of those metrics.
You brought up an interesting point. It's not the cable by itself is, just cable. It also needs to be terminated. It needs to be packaged. It needs to be shipped. It needs to be installed, right? And there are engineering aspects to all of that, right?
Yeah, certainly. So we look at everything from the mining of the materials that go into the cable to the processes of manufacturing the fiber optic cable, putting it all together. And from there, we also look at from service to end of life. So that does mean going out into the field, getting out from behind the desk. Thank you. And going to customer sites, visiting data centers, looking at how they're using the cable, looking at the different environments that the cables go into, and kind of using predictive analysis, if you will, to figure out, well, what are going to be the next needs down the road 5-10 years from now as things continue to grow. So that's one of the challenges and one of the joys of solving that puzzle.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the next needs?
So just to get the buzzwords out of the way, obviously artificial intelligence and machine learning are the main driving factors right now. And how that translates into cable design is more. So the customers are definitely demanding more. We've seen a lot of growth in that area, even more so than during the pandemic. And there are a couple different ways to go about this. We obviously need to respond quickly to this demand to keep our customers satisfied. And that means increasing our capacity here. And we have to use creative ways because capital intensive ways is just buying more equipment.
Yeah.
It takes a while. So redesigning our product, making it a little bit smaller, increasing that densification of the fibers itself that go into the ducts is one of the things that we do, but also just coming up with new materials and rethinking the way we have been making cables for the last 10 to 20 years.
Yeah. You say more, that is more like higher density, more fiber, right? So higher density cables, but also
just quantity.
Just quantity.
Yeah. I have an example this year. We had a very good forecast at the beginning of the year for a new product that was released last year. And within a month of the customer getting their hands on it, they quadrupled their
Oh,
order.
oh,
So yeah, it's a great problem, but we were scrambling here. Well, how do we get this capacity? And also, how do we manage the burden? We can't just increase the hours unduly so on some of our operators. So figuring out how to make products in a more efficient way, reducing setup time, reducing changeover time. So we were looking at everything using our lean engineering principles to see how we could optimize our manufacturing processes at Dow.
can you say a little more about the lean engineering principles for our audience members who may not be familiar?
Oh, yeah. So we've done time studies, workflow analysis separate and aside from the design of the cable itself, but also looking at, okay, well, where are materials stored? How far away is it? Reducing any unnecessary processes or wastes in our entire organization.
All right, so you behind your desk
Mm-hmm.
as an engineer is you're not just engineering the products themselves, but the processes by which the products are manufactured.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background, I actually started as a process engineer,
Mm.
so hands-on with manufacturing, dealing with development from concept to first article manufacture and improving on the quality. So I really try as much as possible to leverage that experience um, when designing new products. Because as I said, we do need to take into consideration that when I design a new product and demand the process engineer or the operator is trying to make it, my duty is really to make them look good
Mm-hmm.
without having to try too hard to look good. So when they're manufacturing a product and it's coming off the line easily and it's coming off the line with high quality, that's a great outcome for me. It's a great outcome for them. When that cable needs to be prepared for shipping to the customer, if there's a way that we can redesign the packaging to reduce the amount of time it takes to do that
Right.
and to reduce the workload, because these reels can be pretty heavy. It's a lot of nails to lag them and prepare them to protect them for shipment overseas potentially. And so we try to take into consideration all of those factors.
So it sounds like your stakeholders are throughout you said from raw materials through the end of life, right? With
Hmm.
these products. Can you talk a little bit about some of the considerations that you're hearing from customers? It sounds like that's one of the favorite parts of your job is when
Yeah.
you're getting to interface with the people who actually install and use
Hmm.
the products we manufacture. What are they concerned about? What are some of their pain points and some of the considerations that you bring back to your desk when you're here doing your work?
So absolutely in the field, some of our hyperscale customers, especially separate and aside from that quantity part of the equation, there's also a need for on-time delivery.
Mm.
It's very costly for them to have installation times that drag on and on. So where my work comes in is one, analyzing the methodologies that they're using and researching if there's new methods or new equipment that could be used, making sure that our product is not only compatible but optimized for that as well.
Mhm.
And so, what we are starting to see in the installation landscape is a lot more what we would call blowing of the cables. So, not just using a heavy winch and pulling on the cable, but actually using air to help facilitate the
The
installation.
jetting
Right.
technologies.
And so where that comes into play, especially from a design standpoint, is finding the right materials to really minimize how much air the weight of the cable, the size of the cable, so that the volume of air in relation to the size of the cable itself is in that ideal zone to really help it propel through the microduct.
You bring up an interesting point on cost, that it's not like how much one cable costs versus another that's really going to impact the project budget, but all of the other costly or the other impacts on cost, like having to wait, right?
Yeah,
Like the delays for the project, like that is that's money, right? And um, scrap and like long-term reliability, that cost equation is so much greater than the line items on your bill of material, right?
absolutely. For a lot of these installation sites, okay, some of them might be in remote places, but take a city, for example, like New York. I think what a lot of people don't tend to appreciate is that when we are designing these new cables, the duct may have been installed 2 decades ago, and it's a certain size. It is very inconvenient for us to say, oh, can you shut down these 3 blocks, these 4 blocks in the middle of New York City for us to dig up the road and put new ducts in?
Nope.
So that's part of the challenge and motivation between with downsizing the cable itself.
Mhm.
And certainly what we're trying to do is minimize that impact of, okay, we have 50 people on sites. It took 6 months to get permits for 2 days. So we really need to get the installation done in a half a day or however so much, because that really does affect our customer at the end of the day.
Because every deployment is unique, right? And
Sure is.
so that's the benefit of having a broad portfolio, so you can choose the right mix of products for
Hmm.
that specific scenario.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. That's it for this episode of Fiber Focus. Stay connected with us for more conversations about the future of fiber, telecom, data centers. Follow us, share this episode, and until next time, stay focused.